You are welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. How are you doing today? I believe you are doing good. My name is Emmanuel Sheung, and I'll be teaching you history. Today, we'll be looking at the Royal Niger Company. The Royal Niger Company.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
At the end of today's class, students will 1. Describe the Royal Niger Company. 2. Identify the factors that promoted the establishment of the Royal Niger Company. 3. Students will explain the roles of the Royal Niger Companies in Nigeria. We'll also identify and discuss the positive and the negative effect of the Royal Niger Company. Now, what is the Royal Niger Company? What are they about? The Royal Niger Company, it was a mercantile company chartered by the British government in the 19th century. It was originally founded in 1879 as the United African Company by George Tubman Godey, a British merchant and colonial administrator. The Royal Niger Company exercised administrative and political control over the territory. It also has the ability to levy tax, administer justice, and engage in military actions. The next, we'll be looking at the factors that promoted the establishment of the Royal Niger Company. Number 1 is the exploitation of resources. The company sought to exploit the rich natural resources of the region, particularly palm oil, that is well needed in Europe. 2. British Imperial expansion. The late 19th century was characterized by the scramble for Africa, where European power competes among themselves to acquire territories on the continent. So what the British government did was to support the establishment of companies like Royal Niger Company as a means to extend British influence. 3. Monopoly of trade. The primary motivation behind the establishment of Royal Niger Company was to secure a monopoly over the lucrative trade in the Niger River region. Commodities like palm oil, as earlier mentioned, rubber, ivory, and other natural resources were in high demand in Europe due to the Industrial Revolution. 4. Preventing rival European partners and powers. British government gave the backing for the establishment of Royal Niger Company in order to chase away other European powers who may want to have interest in the region now known as Nigeria. Roles of the Royal Niger Company. What do they do? Number 1, the company controlled the export of valuable commodities such as palm oil, rubber, which were in high demand in Europe. That's one of their roles. They are in charge of exportation of these valuable commodities. 2, the company was responsible for administering justice, collecting tax, and maintaining law and order as well as managing local affairs. 3. The company acted as intermediary between the British government and the African rulers. Also, the company encouraged the cultivation of cash crops like palm oil and rubber. Also, the company invested in the development of transportation and communication infrastructure to support its trading activities. And also, lastly, the company established a court of equity and the British Royal Niger Constabulary, which later became the Nigerian police. So you will see that all these roles were majorly for the benefit of the British government. Positive effects of the Royal Niger Company. Number 1 is infrastructural development. Yes, there were developments in some areas like transportation and communication, inventing of mobile phones, telegraph, and others. Although this infrastructural development was to ease the British officials, was done mainly to ease their activities in the country, but in one way or the other, the people of Africans, Nigeria, actually benefited from those infrastructural developments as well. 2. Expansion of trade. The Royal Niger Company expanded the trade in the Niger River Basin, integrating the region into a global economy. 3. The introduction of European goods and technology. Goods, technology, tools were being exported and introduced into the region. This included agricultural tools, textiles, and other manufactured products that were previously unavailable in West Africa. The spread of Western education and Christianity. The Royal Niger Company brought about the introduction of Western education and Christianity as a religion. And also, introduction of formal governmental structure. The Royal Niger Company introduced and brought about laid down structure that will be used in a government setting. Negative effects. The Royal Niger Company has lots of negative effects. Number 1 is the monopolistic trade practice. The Royal Niger Company ensured that they monopolize trade in such a way that they are only in charge. For any exportation of trade to take place, it has to pass through them. 2. Erosion of local authorities. There are lots of treaties that were being imposed by the Royal Niger Company that often sweep away and strip the local rulers of their authority. Some treaties that were signed forcefully or some diplomatically. Forced labor and coercion. The Royal Niger Company made use of coercive measures and methods, including hard labor and forced labor, to achieve its economic objectives. The population were compelled to work for the company under harsh conditions with little pay. Cultural displacement. The introduction of Christianity and other culture brought about the erosion and displacement of the indigenous culture in terms of dressing, food, and others. The use of military force. Said it earlier that the Royal Niger Company had its own army. Had its own army that was being put in place to maintain law and order. Practice question. Outline 5 activities of Royal Niger Company that made it seem autocratic. This is a WAEC question. Outline 5 activities of the Royal Niger Company that made it seem autocratic. Number 1, the company monopolized trade in oil rivers area. 2, there is interference into the internal affairs of the people. The Royal Niger Company interfered in the internal affairs of the people of the region. Also, the company raised an army, established an army known as the West African Frontier Force for conquest and expansion. 5, the company exercised absolute political authority over everybody, including the ruler and the people. And they made the rulers to sign treaties forcefully with its officials. Those that are not forcefully were through diplomatic means. Here ends our class for today.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
If you have any suggestion or feedback, kindly reach us through any of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you for watching.